Betty. It's live. 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Betty Avila. I'm the Executive Director of Self-Help Graphics. And I'd like to first start by acknowledging that Self-Help Graphics resides in Apachiagna, currently known as the Los Angeles neighborhood of Boyle Heights, where the original peoples of the territory, the Tongva, Chumash, and Tataviam were first displaced. This past week has been emotional, painful, and also incredibly empowering to see the nation stand up in cities large and small for the movement for Black lives. Self-Help Graphics was born out of the Chicano movement, and we know that the struggles of the Chicana and Chicano and the Latinx and Afro-Latinx communities are inextricably interwoven with Black struggles. No one is free until we are all free. We also acknowledge the anti-Blackness that exists in Latinx culture, conscious and subconscious, and we commit to doing our work, the uncomfortable work, of shedding light on this, both internally and externally, for everything that we do as an organization and as the individuals that make up the organization. Let me make it clear. Self-Help Graphics stands with the movement for Black lives, and that unequivocally, Black lives matter. I'm so grateful to the artists and the community members who are joining us here today to take a moment and take a breath and acknowledge everything that's happening, and also learn a little bit about the work that is being done and that you can contribute to defund the police in support of the Black community here in Los Angeles. I also want to share that under different circumstances, Self-Help Graphics would have opened up its doors to community gathering, poster making, at any kind of event that would have been in support of the Black Lives Matter movement and the movement for Black lives. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that. And that has also been painful for us as an organization to not be able to step up in that way. However, we are opening up our parking lot today, this evening, and tomorrow afternoon to make posters. Artists will be making posters live on site, and you are welcome to come and pick up the posters, and we hope that you will take them to protest with you, put them in your windows, in your car windows, or in your business storefront, share them with as many people as you can. This is just one way that, that we feel that we can support right now, in addition to some of what you'll learn later on today. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that we get to see you soon. And I'm going to pass it on now to Marbella Muro, our Director of Artistic Programs and Education.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Betty. In One Breath is an interruption to your weekend, asking you to stop midday to reflect, internalize, remember the names of the victims of police brutality and other racially hateful crimes, and be in solidarity with the grieving Black community. Seeing the protest, the peaceful protest, and the reaction by authorities, reaction and response by authorities, it was very difficult to articulate what's going on, why is this happening? And I came across a quote by the author Bell Hooks, which gave me a tangible feeling of, or a sense of putting it into words, or helped me articulate my feelings. Sometimes people try to destroy you precisely because they recognize your power, not because they don't see it, but because they see it and they don't want it to exist. I ask that we use this power fueled by the memory of the many Black deaths at the hands of the police and other racially motivated murders to further our shared movement demanding for justice and systematic reform. I will proceed to read the names of a few of the many victims that did and did not make it to the national news. But first, I invite you to say the name out loud of a victim or victims you knew who died at the cause of a hate crime. Eric Gardner, John Crawford III, Michael Brown, Ezell Ford, Dante Parker, Michelle Cousseaux, Laquan McDonald, Tanisha Anderson, Akai Gurley, Tamir Rice, Romaine Brisbane, Jeremy Reed, George Mann, Matthew Ajibade, Frank Smart, Natasha Makina, Tony Robinson, Anthony Hill, Maya Hall, Philip White, Eric Harris, Walter Scott, William Chapman II, Alexia Christian, Brendan Glenn, Victor Manuel La Rosa, Jonathan Sanders, Freddie Blue, Joseph Mann, Salvador Alswood, Sandra Bland, Albert Joseph Davis, Darius Stewart, Billy Ray Davis, Samuel DuBose, Michael Sabi, Brian Keith Day, Christian Taylor, Troy Robinson, Ashams Farrow Manley, Felix Kumi, Keith Harrison McLeod, Junior Prosper, Lamontis Jones, Patterson Brown, Dominic Hutchinson, Anthony Ashford, Alonso Smith, Tyree Crawford, India Kager, Lavonte Biggs, Michael Lee Marshall, Jamar Clark, Richard Perkins, Nathaniel Harris Pickett, Benny Lee Tignor, Miguel Espinal, Michael Noel, Kevin Matthews, Betty Jones, Quintonio Legrier, Keith Childress Jr., Janet Wilson, Randy Nelson, Anthony Scott, Wendell Celestine, David Joseph, Kaylin Rockemore, Deshaun Perkins, Christopher Davis, Marco Loud, Peter Gaines, Tori Robinson, Darius Robinson, Kevin Hicks, DeMarcus Semmer, Willie Tillman, Terrell Thomas, Sylvia Smith, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, Terrence Crutcher, Paul O'Neill, Alteria Woods, Jordan Edwards, Aaron Bailey, Ronald Foster, Stephen Clark, Antoine Rose, Botham Jean, Pamela Turner, Dominique Clayton, Tatiana Jefferson, Christopher Whitfield, Christopher McCorvey, Eric Reason, Michael Lorenzo Dean, Ahmad Arbery, Tony McDade, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and as of 2 days ago, David McAtee. Today, we are honored with the presence of some of amazing people who do great work in our communities. I'll start by introducing Ofelia Esparza, who's a Mexican-American altar maker whose work is informed by a deep spiritual belief in traditional process, which pays homage and evokes the memory of people, events, and places through altars. She and her family have been part of the Self-Help Graphics family since 1978. Quetzal Flores and singer Marta Gonzalez of the Grammy-winning group Quetzal are joining us as well with their music. Quetzal's music is rooted in telling the social, cultural, political, and musical stories of people in struggle. Individually, Marta Gonzalez is a Chicana activista, musician, feminist music theorist, and assistant professor in the Intercollegiate Department of Chicano-Chicana, Latino-Latina Studies at Scripps Claremont College. And growing up in grassroots movements as the son of a labor union organizer, Quetzal Flores inherited an undying accountability to community struggles and has always been active with the music in hand. He is involved in several community organization partners to Self-Help Graphics, such as Artivist, Isela Community Corporations, and now Colectivo Poder Comunitario. Moni Perez, or Monica Perez, is a storyteller from Boyle Heights, a cancer survivor with 15-year journey with a creative practice. Moni's work is rooted in social justice as well as resilience, and as a cultural worker who practices and teaches multiple art forms such as writing, cooking, and printmaking. She blends her experience as a cancer survivor, a trained social worker, and art facilitator under Self-Help Graphics Barrio Mobile Art Studio. And in February of this year, Moni made her debut, playwright and directorial debut at Casa 0101. And finally, I'm glad to have Roderick Hall. He is the Director of Organizing at Abundant Housing, a nonprofit committed to education and advocacy of the affordability, livability, and sustainability benefits of more housing. Abundant Housing, as its self-help graphics, are part of Healthy LA, a coalition of more than 325 organizations uniting to propose concrete solutions to the many hardships caused by COVID-19 pandemic. He will guide us onto how we and you can contribute and advocate for the people's budget, a city budget that is reflective of our collective priorities and values. I want to thank our guests once again for coming together so quickly and sharing their gift with us. I'll now pass on the microphone to Ofelia, who will lead us in a prayer.
I am honored to be doing this prayer with all of you and for all of us. My prayer is to give us courage to sustain, to continue with this struggle together with people of color, especially our brothers from the Black community. And praying for courage and sustainability in this struggle, of the voices that have are drowning out voices of prejudice, hate, and injustice, that we continue in our resolve, and that this is not just the dream that has been deferred, as Langston Hughes says. A dream deferred is like a bird with broken wings who cannot fly. I believe that now with more and more voices shouting all over this country and even in the rest of the world can give us this sustain this resolve to continue, that it's not just prayers for dreams, but also a call to action. And to remind everyone in our community that all these voices in protest and in petitions are for all of us. We are all one. We all, the call for justice and peace resonates in our own community. I like to quote Langston Hughes. He said it so well, and we can all resonate with this feeling of pride and beauty in our cultures. He said, "The night is beautiful, so the faces of my people. The stars are beautiful, so the eyes of my people. Beautiful also is the sun. Beautiful also are the souls of my people. We are all one. We are together in this fight and struggle." I invoke also Our Lady, our Mother, our grandfathers and grandmothers, all our ancestors, to help us, protect us, and to keep our soul and our light burning in this struggle. That's great, Mom.
Hold me, see the mushroom rise. Hold me as the flowers die. Kiss me as the rivers run dry. I believe your lips are all I need. I won't go thirsty, I won't go dry. As the world ends around us, as others fight and die, we know we've done all we could. Embrace me now, I won't cry, 'cause even in the end, I feel strong by your side, 'cause as hard as we have loved, we're victorious, and justice never dies. The dust has settled. Open your eyes, we're still alive. Some evaporated, sold out, gave up, or just went blind. But we can see, and look, everything we've built is intact. The way we love and celebrate, the way we laugh, as we rebuild the world around us, as others still fight and die. We keep doing all we can. We don't just survive, we want to thrive. 'Cause in this new beginning, I feel strong by your side. 'Cause as hard as we have loved, we're victorious, and justice never dies. Our love never dies. Our visions never die. Yeah. Oh,
Thank you, Quetzal. Woo, that was amazing. And I just want to remind everybody, and a shout out to Sandino, who we have seen grown through this movement, in this movement. He's amazing, and he's a baby. He's 15 years old, right? Hi. He's so amazing. Jeez, but with parents like that, how can he not be? Thank you for that. I'm gonna read you guys a poem. This is my way of dealing with everything. I started reading poems for people on my social media when the Rona was happening, and all that, and I kind of didn't know how and didn't know, and then I just said, you know what, this is what's working for me, and I hope this works for other people too. This particular piece is titled Frederick Douglass by Robert Hayden. When it is finally ours, this freedom, this liberty, this beautiful and terrible thing, needful to man as air, usable as earth, when it belongs at last to our children, when it is truly instinct, brain matter, diastole, systole, reflect action, when it is finally one, when it is more than the gaudy mumbo jumbo of politicians. This man, this Douglas, this former slave, this Negro beaten to his knees, exiled, visioned a world where none is lonely, none hunted, alien. This man, superb in love and logic, this man shall be remembered. Oh, not with statues rhetoric, not with legends and poems and wreaths of bronze alone, but with the lives grown out of his life, the lives fleshing his dream of the beautiful, needful thing. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you everyone for that. I did not realize how much I needed all of this until now. Thank you for the prayer, the music, and the poem. I mean, it has really helped me. I think for all of us, the past 7 days have been, I guess the volcano erupting has already been a hard year. And then the past 7 days for me as a person, first and foremost, have been hard. And then, also just in the work that all of us are doing. But what I am excited about and what I try and remind myself is that during this time, there is a lot of great things happening. There are great people who are making amazing art to keep us all going. And for that, I'm very appreciative. As for those who were not able to hear, my name is Roderick Hall, and I'm the organizing director with Abundant Housing LA. One of the many organizations, including Self-Help Graphics, that are a part of the Healthy LA Coalition. For those who don't know, the Healthy LA Coalition is just a variety of groups from all over LA who've come together to think about what LA could look like in a post-COVID world, and to discuss the hardships we've all faced. And because of that, as a coalition and the events that have taken place over the past 7 days, we also wanted to show solidarity with and for the Black Lives Matter movement and for the People's Budget, because as we all know, our communities are constantly being over-policed, and we all probably have our own relationships and experiences with the police that I think we could all have gone our lives without. And so I say that to say, this is why the Black Lives Matter for LA and the People's Budget movement are fighting for what they're fighting for, and why we as a coalition, as the Healthy LA Coalition, are allying ourselves with them. I want to say this to say that on Monday, June 8th, sorry, I forgot the date. On Monday, June 8th at 2:00 p.m., there will be a meeting happening where we can take action to support this budget and to support Los Angeles, where our lives matter and are valued. And that's not only, sorry for the helicopter noise if you can hear that, but we not only want Los Angeles where we have our politicians and local electeds saying that we matter, but they're showing us that we matter by allocating money into our communities that have always been destroyed for the sake of the alleged American dream. And I say this to say, I'm going to share my screen so I can see. This is a look at the letter that went out, and what we're asking people to do is call and take action around the budget in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter LA movement. And with the People's Budget Movement, the Healthy LA Coalition, some folks were able to get together and think about what this might look like. So we are looking to both acquire and rehabilitate both multifamily and single family homes to make them permanently affordable. We're trying to push for having a pilot program for social housing being housing that is built by the government for the people as opposed to being built by private developers. We of course want to continue to fight for affordable housing and getting those subsidies, as well as services for supportive housing, the right to counsel and eviction defense, and of course the community land trust that all together trying to fight for a total of 13,500 units of housing that we will use to house folks. And because of that, we're asking that, like I said, you take action. You can send a tweet, you can post on Instagram, Facebook, any social media platform. You can write a letter, you can make a call. And in the Take Action Toolkit, we've already taken the initiative to create. You just have to essentially copy and paste. So we make it pretty convenient for folks to get involved. And that's all I have to say in that regards. But I do want to end with, like I said, this is a very hard time for all of us as Black and brown folks in this country. It's always been a hard time for us. It's always been about trying to fight for a better world, one that we were never included in, a better America. And while it may be very difficult during this time, for the first time, it feels like a very long time. It feels like we have the energy and the movement to enact change that will ultimately allow all of us to lead better lives and ideally make art that we love that doesn't always have to be political, but can just be something that we love. And we won't have to always live in a world where we're constantly fighting. Thank you.
Roderick, can you share the where we can contact that, or where we can access that toolkit, or website or phone numbers that we can call to for that call to action?
Yes, I'm going to drop the link to the toolkit in the chat, and that'll be, everyone should be able to access that.
Can you read it for those?
Oh, yes, of course. Would you prefer I read a piece of the, sorry for the noise. So, as I mentioned, the meeting is June 8th at 2:00 p.m. You can, the live audio can be, actually, let me just drop this in. So, what the call script would look like. So if you want to call, there's, like I mentioned, a variety of things you can do. You can call your local electeds, you can email city council, you can call in Monday and give public comment, which we're also strongly urging people to do. What I'm going to do is read one of, there's a variety of, all the scripts look different. I'm going to read both one of the public comments, and I can also read the press statement that we put out, if that works as well, so that folks can have the context.
Sure.
Perfect. So one of the public comments we have, I'll just use an example. So my name is Roderick Hall, and I strongly support the Healthy LA and People's Budget coalitions. I urge you and the rest of the city council to reject the mayor's proposed budget. The city's proposed budget does not reflect the priorities and values of Los Angeles residents. In this time of global pandemic and the fight to end systemic racism, the city budget should invest in communities, not policing. Prioritize your constituents who are suffering under historically racist systems and need more relief. I support the Healthy LA Coalition and the People's Budget LA Coalition in efforts to push the city to defund the police and reallocate resources to different housing programs. And then the press statement that we put out reads as follows, and I'll also drop the link to that in the chat. LA City budget should reflect our values. Defund police, invest in housing stability. Decades of racist policies, land use planning, and disinvestment from LA's Black communities continue to have devastating effects today. Black residents are overrepresented in the homeless population and continue to experience higher rates of unemployment. Our shameful history of racism has created a city where Black and Latinx communities still face the deepest inequities. Healthy LA Coalition, a diverse network of more than 320 organizations, coalesced to propose concrete solutions to the many hardship low-income communities of color are experiencing due to the COVID-19 pandemic, with racial justice at the core of our platform and policy solutions. Our coalition stands firmly in solidarity with the movement for Black Lives Matter LA, and People's Budget LA, and demanding a significant reduction to the city's police budget and reinvestment into programs that uplift communities of color. We strongly support the sustained protest against police brutality, systemic racism, and unjust murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Tony McDade, and countless others. Nothing demonstrates a government's priorities and values more than its budget. In the adopted budget, 54% of the city's unrestricted revenues are allocated towards the Los Angeles Police Department, including raises to officers while simultaneously reducing the budgets of dozens of other city departments that vulnerable Angelenos, like all of us, need and depend on during the health and economic crises. This is immoral and unconscionable. The council motion that proposes reallocating between $100 million and $150 million from the police budget to be reinvested in communities of color impacted by policing as a start. But assuming all of this money comes from the unrestricted revenues, it still leaves over 50% of the budget allocated to the police. More must be done. Our city must adopt bold, well-funded, and well-staffed programs to prepare for the inevitable threat of evictions and displacement that struggling families will face when temporary tenant protections expire after emergency orders are lifted. This is why we not only firmly oppose increased spending on police, but we also demand that the budget allocate robust resources for housing stability and social safety net programs that serve low-income communities and communities of color. In addition to universal aid and crisis management, affordable health care, community safety, mental health services, and supportive housing for the homelessness. This cannot be done while LAPD is utilizing over half of the unrestricted funds that should be going into services for constituents. Our communities were already facing the nation's worst housing and homelessness crisis before the COVID-19 pandemic, and now we may face eviction and homelessness on a scale we have never seen unless the city council acts boldly and quickly for housing justice. If we want impactful outcomes that will address the needs of the most vulnerable Angelenos, we need deep and systemic changes to how we approach the budget. Our elected decision makers must show leadership through their commitment to ensure that LA recovers, rebuilds, and heals from its history of racist policies by committing to restore and increase funding for housing stability programs. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll make this the links and the documents available on our website, and please, the call to action is please call on Monday at 2 p.m. your city councilman at 2 o'clock on Monday. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, and you can
Okay.
also call into the meeting as well if you want to give public comment.
Okay. Thank you.
Are you sure? cosita que una vez baja y pronto se levanta. Isa navegante, Isa,
Hace el fuego, ahuyenta el frío.
en navíos de justicia,
En su cauce crece el río.
no hay delitos en la piel
Hace el fuego, ahuyenta el frío.
de esta morena mestiza.
En su cauce crece el río.
Bataleando cuando rente atormentando, sobrevivo, voy flotando, saber dónde, cómo y cuándo. Isa, navegante,
Hace
Isa,
el fuego, ahuyenta el frío.
en navío de justicia,
En su cauce crece el río.
que hay delitos en la pies.
Hace el fuego, ahuyenta el frío.
Esta morena mestiza.
En su cauce crece el río.
Isa, navegante,
Hace
Isa,
el fuego, ahuyenta el frío.
en navío de justicia,
En su cauce crece el río.
no hay delito en la vez
Hace el fuego, ahuyenta el frío.
de esta morena mestiza.
En su cauce crece el río.
Isa, navegante,
Hace
Isa,
el fuego, ahuyenta el frío.
en navío de justicia,
En su cauce crece el río.
no hay delito en la
Hace el fuego,
vez
ahuyenta el frío.
esta morena mestiza.
Hey guys, thank you. Welcome back. I almost, when all this happened, I want to say I had to check myself. I almost called my Black friends and was like, "What do I do?" And I was like, "No, this is my problem. This is my responsibility. I need to figure out what to do." And my friends there's platforms that are informing us of what to do. And as a mother who's raising an Afro Chicanita, it's my responsibility to figure out what I need to do. And so I, as a Chicana who also didn't know what to do, this is my call to action to y'all, to my brothers and sisters. Like, try to commit to some of the following things, like demanding justice and accountability. There's a lot of organizations that are working with signing petitions or calling your local elected officials and doing things that way. Also, there's not a lot of platforms that I follow, but Black Lives Matter, the LA chapter, is one of the ones that keeps me informed. There's also their website that you can punch in your email and get updates on what's happening, how changes are happening on the daily. So inform yourselves, go to the LA chapter of Black Lives Matter. Donate, share, go to protests. You can buy gear. Black Lives Matter sells gears. And if you're out there spending $20 on freaking burgers, you can spend $20 on donating to Black Lives Matter. Donate, buying a shirt and representing, going to protests and wearing your shirt. Doing whatever you can. There's a lot of people who are immune compromised, who can't be out, you know, with a large group of people. I'm one of them. But you know what? I protect myself, and I've been out there a couple of times, and I keep my distance, and I do what I can. You can do what you can. People are dying. People are dying. People are getting murdered like animals. And if that doesn't outrage you, I don't know what can. I don't know what can. I have been paralyzed, and this is me who doesn't have to deal with the daily issue. Like I don't have to suffer what my Black brothers and sisters have suffered, and I'm paralyzed. I can't even imagine what our community is going through. So please, please, please do your part. There's so many other ways that you can help out. It doesn't have to be like being out there. It doesn't have to be what you know, there's many ways. So please inform yourself. It's your responsibility. Please. I'm going to read you a poem that when I read this, I was just like, whew, how long? This has been going on forever. Look at this book. It's called American Negro Poetry. You know how old this book is? Old. And it is still talking about the same stuff. And I just, whew. This piece is called If We Must Die by Claude McKay. If we must die, let it not be like hogs hunted and penned in an inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock at our uncursed lot. If we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us, though dead. O kinsmen, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave, and for their 1,000 blows deal one death blow. What though before us lies the open grave? Like men will face the murderous, cowardly pack pressed to the wall, dying but fighting back. I think this poem is so prevalent. Everybody wants to die with freaking dignity. We all want a dignified death, and being murdered in front of people for no apparent reason is not a dignified way to die. And if we're not fighting for anything else, let's fight for that. We all deserve that. We all deserve to die in a dignified way. And please, everybody who claims they're my friend, who follows us, do something. I beg of you, do something. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Ophelia, Quetzal, Marta, and Moni and Betty. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. I want to close by reminding you to, like Moni said, to be an active participant, either through protest, donating, participating in public comment on Monday, June 8th at 2 p.m., calling your councilman, demanding the people's budget, demanding justice, demanding reform in our systemic system. A reminder, today we'll be distributing posters in support of Black Lives Matter. These posters were created by artist Duita Foya and the collective Ni Santas. Today we'll be distributing them from 3 to 6 p.m. and tomorrow, Sunday, June 7th, from 12 to 3 p.m. So it's while supplies last. If you wish to donate or give a donation for the poster, we urge you to donate to Black Lives Matter. We are located on 1300 East 1st Street, corner of Anderson and 1st Street. Again, it's 3 to 6 today and tomorrow from 12 to 3 p.m. We urge all of you who come by foot or even car to practice social physical distancing and wear a mask. Thank you for joining us today. In one breath, let's move forward with force and keep our solidarity strong. Thank you.